Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next video lesson. We're going to look at some important verbs dealing with grammar that we use a lot that sometimes can be confusing. Used to, be used to, and get used to. Do you know the difference? Sometimes they're confusing. And we're going to look at all three of those and try to unravel. Unravel means make clear, sort of take apart this and make it hopefully memorable and understandable for you to use correctly in the future. We're going to look at vocabulary related to sleep. I'm dozing off. If you doze off, you slowly fall asleep. And then we're going to look at the difference between S and Z. If you notice, doze is D-O-S-E, but it sounds like D-O-Z or Z-E. Now, the Americans say Z. The British use Z. It's that last letter in the alphabet, the Z. Doze is spelled with an S, but has a Z or Z sound. So this is quite confusing. All right, let's go ahead then and look at what we're going to do. Now, straight away, you all have listening files that are going to help you get through all of this. You're going to be introduced to the used to, get used to, and be used to, right here, be used to, and then filling in the ending, because this is one of the things you have to, one of the difficulties is that they have different endings. Sometimes ing, sometimes the infinitive. So I can't get used to something with ing. I'm always used to with ing. So you're going to have to, I'm finally getting used to. So you're going to have to remember how these work because they don't sound natural when you first start using them. Because when you see to, you want to use the infinitive, not an ing. To play, not to playing. I'm used to playing all night. Used to playing, it sounds strange because we normally say to play, but with used to, we have to change our ways. And so that we're going to do. And let's look straight away at the grammar file. I'm going to help you go through this right now. So here we go. I'm going to read these for you, not the audio file. I used to sleep for 8 hours every night, but now I only sleep for 6. So I used to sleep is in the past. I hardly recognized Alan. He didn't used to have a beard. That's in the negative. Didn't used to versus used to in the positive. I used to sleep. He didn't used to sleep, whatever. So if you look here, number 1, these are past actions or repeated habits. For present habits, we use usually. So I used to sleep for 8 hours. That's in the past. Now, if I want to talk about now, what's your sleeping pattern? You can say, I usually sleep, present simple. I usually sleep for 8 hours. You're telling people that what you normally do every day. All right, number 2, when I lived in France as a child, we used to have croissants for breakfast. We would buy them every morning. Used to have and would buy are similar. They talk about the past repeated habits. So would is it probably new for some of you. We can use would, but we can't use would as always with used to. We use used to also with non-action verbs. I used to know that. You would never say, I would know that when I was young. No, I used to know that when I was young, but I don't use would. We use would with action verbs. I would swim, action, every summer as a child. I used to swim every summer as a child. So you can use both of them with action, but with non-action, just used to, not would. All right, with would, we use a past time expression. We can also use an adverb. I often got up. Younger, I often swam as a child. So I often got up. I used to get up. I would get up. 3 ways to express past habits. All right. Now, let's go ahead and look at this. And this, excuse me, we have here be used to and get used to. Now, this is where it's confusing because we have the ing at the end. So be and get, we use the ing. I'm used to sleeping, not to sleep. I'm used to sleeping with the curtains open. Do you see here? Here are the curtains right here. These are curtains. I'm used to sleeping with the curtains open. What about you? Do you sleep with the curtains open when light comes in the morning? Or do you prefer it pitch black? Pitch is P-I-T-C-H, pitch black. Do you prefer it pitch black, or do you don't mind a bit of light? Next, Carlos has just moved to London. He isn't used to driving. He isn't used to driving. So, number 2, I can't get used to working at night. I can't get used to working at night. Don't worry, you'll get used to it soon. All right. We use get used to plus gerund to talk about a new situation. I can't get used to working. Hopefully, you are used to studying English with Professor. I don't want to hear that you can't get used to him. That would be very disappointing. I hope you can. And you are using and improving and taking these lessons very seriously, because these are words you will use often in real conversations in English. All right. Now, pronunciation, this is where it's difficult. Now, I want you to pay attention. You're going to have the English Files series, but I want to do something here. Listen to this SZ sound. So used to, number 1 right here. This obviously, you can see there's an S, used to, but I used to get up, but watch number 2. It often takes time to get used to. Also, value is a verb which is used. That's the Z. So we have SSZ. I used to get used to, which is used. Do you hear that? SSZ. Very confusing because it's the same word. The only difference is we have is used to as opposed to used to and get used to. So with the I am used to, we prefer the Z sound. Now, slightly different pronunciation, but I would learn these because these S's have Z sounds or Z sounds. All right. Where are we? We are down here to vocabulary. Now, this is really interesting because sleep is a part of our life, and not just a part, an important part of our life. We sleep at least 30% of our existence, most of us. And here's some fascinating things. So yawn, this is a yawn. Now, I want you to read most of this, but I think it's quite interesting that males yawn longer and more often than females. That's really interesting. I wonder why. What do you think? I don't know. Now, napping. A nap is a small sleep, short sleep in the afternoon. Around 2, I take a nap all the time, and I can take it at any hour. If I'm tired, I take a nap. These are great. Blankets, sheets, pillow, duvet. All of these are quite nice. All right. Now, let's see if we have, a post-lunch dip. If you have a dip, they're talking about a dip in energy. So if a dip means a low point. If you're low on energy, you want to sleep. All right, a pneumatic drill is a drill that's powered by water. All right, we know what a blanket is, but digestion is that what your stomach does after you eat food. This one is not very pleasant, so I'll let you read that. Didn't really like it. Insomnia. Do any of you suffer from insomnia? I never have. But insomnia is when you can't sleep. Your mind won't shut off, or you've got headaches, or you're worried, or something's going on in your life, probably not very good. Sometimes it's because you're really happy. If you fall in love and you're right before marriage, you might have insomnia. You just can't sleep because you're so excited. So, but in general, insomnia is not a good thing. Sedated. If you're sedated, you're in a state of relaxation and because you've taken medicine or something. All right, the middle of the night is the dead of night. Most people, I guess, are sleepy. Scary films are another word for horrors. I do want to tell you how to pronounce this because some of you don't know, so listen. According to one study, 4.7%. Let me say it again, 4 point, not dot. 4.7% of Americans while driving. Oh, I hope the word isn't doze. Doze would be very serious. All right. Now, this listening file is going to be really interesting. I've listened to it, and it's really interesting. You're going to answer these, but it's about an expert doctor on sleeping giving you what we know about sleeping, what scientists know about sleeping. Very interesting, very important, and worth reading, not just for the language, but for your general knowledge and well-being. Now, the speaking section is super interesting because it has all of these questions that we're going to talk about during the live, but you can talk about with a speaking partner. So I want to encourage you all to ask some of these questions, either to yourself to try to answer it, record it. And in fact, if you want to record one of these as an answer and send it to me, I'll listen and correct your English. All right, so go ahead and do that. And that's it. That's your homework. So good luck, study hard, and I'll see you soon.